You know that feeling. The day ends, you sit down, and you feel tired. But when you try to explain it, nothing really happened today. No intense work, no physical effort, no big events. So you start asking yourself, why am I tired when I didn't do much today? And most people quietly assume something about themselves. Maybe I'm lazy. Maybe I'm not disciplined enough. Maybe something is wrong with me. But what if that explanation is completely off? Most people still think tiredness comes from doing things, from movement, from effort, from visible work. But modern tiredness is different. It doesn't always come from doing too much. It often comes from something invisible, something you don't really notice while it's happening. It's not the big tasks that drain you, it's everything in between. Thinking about a normal day, you check your phone, you see messages, you respond, you switch apps. You're thinking about what to reply. You remember something else you need to do. You open a tab, you close it, you open another one, you forget why you open it. You switch again. None of this feels like real work, but your system doesn't see it that way. Every time your attention shifts, your brain reorients. Every time you pause and restart, there is a small cost. Not big enough to notice, but big enough to accumulate. So by the end of the day, you haven't done a lot, but your system has been constantly switching. Here's something most people misunderstand. There are different types of fatigue. One is physical, the other is cognitive, but there is a third one. It's the fatigue of continuous monitoring. Modern life asks you to keep track of messages, tasks, people, notifications, plans, time, decisions, and expectations. Even when you are not actively doing anything, part of your mind is still running in the background. So you are never fully off. You are just less active. And maybe that's why rest doesn't always feel like rest anymore. Because your system never fully closes. You sit down, you stop working, but your attention doesn't stop moving. You check your phone, you think about tomorrow, you replay something from earlier, you switch again. So even when you are resting, your system is still partially active. And recovery doesn't just need time, it needs closure. It needs moments where nothing is being tracked, nothing is being held, nothing is waiting. But modern environments really give that. And what's interesting is, health is slowly changing the way it thinks about this. For a long time, health was about how much did you exercise? How many calories did you burn? How productive were you? But increasingly, people are asking a different question. How much invisible load is your system carrying? Not how hard are you pushing, but how well are you recovering? Maybe modern humans are not exhausted because they're doing too much. Maybe they are exhausted because they are constantly switching, tracking, responding, anticipating, carrying hundreds of tiny, unfinished loops. An invisible load, a load that doesn't look like work, but it feels like exhaustion. So maybe the better question is not, why am I tired? Maybe it's, what has my attention been doing all day? Because you might not physically overworked, but your attention has been working over time. And once you start seeing this, you notice it everywhere, in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, even when you are resting. So the question slowly changes, not how do I force myself to do more, but how do I reduce the unnecessary load? Because maybe the goal is not more discipline. Maybe the goal is a system that doesn't constantly drain you in the background. And once you see it like that, you start noticing your energy differently, your attention differently, your days differently. And that's why real change begins. And maybe that's why the conversation around health is changing. For decades, we asked how much can humans do? Now, increasingly, we ask how much load can humans carry before they slowly drift away from themselves. That's why recovery became a market, why wearables stopped tracking only activity, why resilience became more valuable than intensity. The future of health is not helping humans do more, it's helping humans survive environments that constantly ask too much.